Good morning, welcome to All Four Queens 555 on this Saturday morning. Hope everyone's doing well. So I was doing a little bit of stuff this morning and I wanted to sort of like touch on Leviathan spirit. Now, bear in mind, you know that I've got lots of people pulling on me trying to change the way that I speak, but obviously this will explain a little bit as well, because I think there's a lot of people who have been throwing out so much energy to try and keep us all off balance a little bit. And I do believe I'm not the only one in the collective. I think that, you know, as we go into spiritual, as we're in spiritual warfare, but because we've awakened, a lot of people, you know, it's obviously had an impact on them as well, hasn't it? So let me just introduce myself. Welcome to the channel. It's all about warfare, spiritual warfare, healing and awakening. And you will see, if you've seen any of my recordings, I've recorded a lot in relation to my warfare that was related to a lot of abuse and bullying. And I know I'm not the only one that has gone through that. When I awakened, obviously I was aligned to God. I don't say that I'm from a specific sector in religion, and because I don't personally feel I need to. I was brought up Catholic, but I choose spirituality, and I choose scripture because I actually enjoy reading scripture, and I understand it now from now. I understand it from when I was a 5-year-old. I didn't. And I also use tarot cards as well. Now, I don't need the tarot cards, but I use them for a visual for everybody else. And I know people say, well, you shouldn't be doing scripture with tarot, but quite frankly, my gifts are from God, and they're all about healing and about love and about hope and about making the world a better place. And if God is happy with me, then I'll take my judgment from him and my ancestors, because I don't do it to hurt anybody. So I wanted to just talk about the Leviathan spirit. I can never actually pronounce it. I did one on the Python spirit, and now I want to do one on this one, because it's quite interesting, and you can get a lot of the information on Google or in some spiritual books. So the Leviathan spirit root meaning. This concept is drawn from the biblical meaning mentions of a giant, untamable sea monster in passages like Job 41, Psalm 74 and Isaiah 27. How it operates often considered the king of pride rather than constriction. It is believed to represent a twisting spirit that brings arrogance and miscommunication and division into relationships. Some teachings describe it as a marine spirit associated with deep emotional and psychological attacks. I'm going to touch on that in a minute. Key differences at a glance. Method: Python squeezes and suffocates faith. Leviathan twists communication and promotes pride. Effects: the Python typically causes helplessness and physical spiritual exhaustion, and Leviathan drives conflict, gossip, and a critical spirit. Heavenly theological concepts that rely on metaphorical or mythological leverage beliefs regarding exactly how these spirits interact very, very widely. Now, there's other spirits as well, but I'll do that separately because I was fascinated this morning. And the reason why I looked it up is because I do believe people have been sending marine spirits to me, and I do believe they've been trying to affect my communication and obviously squeeze out my faith as well with the Python spirit. They've just been throwing everything. And bear in mind as well, I've got a lot of people holding on to my energy because we got pulled away. And when you get pulled away, obviously people that have been reliant on your energy don't have your energy, so they'll do everything. And I think some of them have resorted to the dark arts to do it, to try and do something to attach to you so they can still have access to your energy. However, that fight isn't really with me. That fight's with the spiritual realm, because they pulled us away. And I think 2020 was the start of the pull away. There's also something you might want to watch in Carl Jung, that he talks around contracts breaking down in the body and things that happen. And that's all about the narcissist and the empath paradigm. So when they don't have you, there's all those bindings that they've done to you that obviously the spiritual realm are separating from your body. So that's a bit of a, you're going through that change as well. And then also there's all these pythons that they send, like the Leviathan spirit. There's also the lust spirit, which is the Jezebelian spirit. And I'm going to touch on that in a minute, but I will do another separate one on Jezebel because I've just found something interesting. However, I have somebody who is constantly trying to attach to my energy. And the reason being is because they've lived in my energy for so long, pretending to be me and cloaking in my energy and living in my energy. So obviously the spiritual realm has pulled everybody away. I know everyone's desperate because they haven't got our energy, i.e. me and the collective who has, divine energy, if you want to say it that way. So anyway, this person, what I've seen in watching it, because obviously when they're in your energy, and you can see stuff, they basically they have attachments to them. So they couldn't attach anything to me. So this person who has attachments is trying to attach to me, if that makes sense. Now I'm assuming they are going through some sort of transition as well. So they've got some sort of demon attached to them, an entity and a jinn. And they've also got some sort of Jezebelian spirit. And the reason why I say that is because they're desperately trying to siphon from my sacral. And that's something that they do as well. And some of the things that you can do is obviously you need to cleanse it out and you need to sort of like pray it out as well, which obviously I'm going to do after this. But obviously you can go to a practitioner and get some cords cut, and you can cord cut yourself. You can have like spiritual baths and stuff, but some of the magic that they've done on me is extremely painful, and some of it is very ancient. So I'm going to probably have to go and get, some shaman help or something eventually. I mean, I'm doing as much as I can myself. And the reason why I've left it a little bit longer is because if it is an earthbound spirit, and the more it slows down, it will eventually see the light. And I do that every day, ask it to move to the light, moves to the light. So there's a lot to it, but they do attach to you, and obviously as you rise, they shouldn't be able to attach to you, but sometimes as you rise you get more light. So once they pass, or if they're in transition, they do see you as the light, if that makes sense. So just be mindful of that and just keep cleansing and stuff. I also have somebody that's obsessed with my energy, and obviously that's a cord cutting session that I need to do as well. So in Isaiah 27, I just want to read this. This is about the Leviathan spirit. In that day, the Lord will punish with his sword, his fierce, great and powerful sword, Leviathan, the gliding serpent, Leviathan, the coiling serpent. He will slay the monster of the sea. In that day, sing about a fruitful vineyard. I, the Lord, watch over it. I water it continually. I guard it day and night, so that no one may harm it. I am not angry. If only there were briars and thorns confronting me, I would march against them in battle. I would set them all on fire, or else let them come to me for refuge. Let them make peace with me. Yes, let them make peace with me. In days to come, Jacob will take root, Israel will bud and blossom, and fill all the world with fruit. Has the Lord struck her as he struck down those who struck her? Has she been killed? As those were killed who killed her? By warfare and exile you contend with her. With this fear blast he drives her out, as on a day the east wind blows. By this then will Jacob's guilt be atoned for, and this will be the full fruitage of the removal of his sin, when he makes all the altar stones to be like chalk stones crushed to pieces. To Ashar poles or incense altars will be left standing. The fortified city stands desolate, an abandoned settlement, forsaken like the desert. There the calves graze. There they lie down. They strip its branches bare. When its twigs are dry, they are broken off, and women come and make fires with them. For this is a people without understanding. So their maker has no compassion on them, and their creator shows them no favour. In that day the Lord will thrash from the following Euphrates to the Wadi of Egypt. And you, O Israelites, will be gathered up one by one, and in that day a great trumpet will sound. Those who were perishing in Assyria and those who were exiled in Egypt will come and worship the Lord on the holy mountain in Jerusalem. I read that because it was talking about the Leviathan spirit, and for me, I do believe that all this baneful magic that people have constantly been doing, and all this ancient magic, which a lot of it is against spiritual law anyway, and they shouldn't be doing it. I don't believe some people have the rank to be doing it, but they've learnt it. And the challenge with that is they're doing all this stuff, but you can't put it back in the box once you've done it. So what happens to all these spirits that are roaming round? And obviously here it says, by warfare and exile you contend with her. With his fierce blast, he drives her out. So I do believe at this moment in time, we are going through a lot of spiritual warfare and awakening as well. And I'm hoping that my story will inspire people to awaken to what's going on around them, if they are to awaken, obviously. And obviously only God and the spiritual realm and their ancestors know the answer to that. But I think for me, it's more of an awareness of what people are doing when they're starting to mess with witchcraft and the things that they do to others. And for me, from a social justice point of view, I actually think it's disrespectful, to the person that they're doing it to, two, to their ancestral lineage. They will get karma for it because we reap what we sow, and they'll also add curses to their bloodline. But I also think it takes away someone's free will. And for me, I don't think people should be in a position to take that sort of stance where the only energy I believe that can affect someone's free will is God himself and their ancestors. So I think for me there's this excessive abuse of the dark arts and conjuring up all sorts of things and then abusing others and going against their free will. But we do know, as it says, by warfare and exile you contend with her. With his fierce blast he drives her out. So I do believe that a lot of people are feeling the backlash of the reap what you sow because of all the nefarious things they've been doing against innocent souls, just because they could. It doesn't mean it was right, and therefore I hope going forward, we don't wish karma on anyone, but I do believe in karmic justice, and I do believe in justice for all those people that have suffered at the hands of others because of injustices. And I just hope that people will be more mindful in what they do to others, because it is written, isn't it? Do unto others as you want done to you, Luke 6:3-1. And I'm hoping that the more I share things that are spiritual and obviously based with scripture as well, the more people will talk about it and the more people will start to consider and stop to think, because whatever you put out you're going to get back, and you may not get it back the way that you put it out. So it's just about being mindful and understanding the intentions of why you're doing it, because there's other spirits that drive people to do things like jealousy, envy. We know all those spirits, but it's not necessarily the right reason to do things. So I just want to make that clear, because people do mess with marine spirits, python spirits, and we know the church, me personally, I believe the church is a bit squeezed by the python spirit, and I hope that people can start to cast it out and start to use it as a mantra to get rid of it and start to be aware of what it is, really, rather than suffering in silence. And the same for me, I've got to sort this out as well. So, it's another thing for me to sort out. But, there's a lot of people throwing a lot of stuff out at one person. And I say one person, but I know there's a collective as well who are having the same issues. But, faith is so important, and stay aligned to God and keep your practices up. I mean, it's not so great for me because I'm not in my own home per se. It would have been a lot easier, but keep your practices up, and hopefully we can eradicate these things and sort of like, hopefully people will start to think a little bit more about the consequences of their actions against others, when it comes to social justice and it comes to abuse of power and probably witchcraft, really, But, that's down to them, and that their judgment will be with God, irrespective of who they pray to. God is a supreme being, and he still is justice and judgment, and truth will always prevail over any darkness. So I hope people understand that. Anyway, have a lovely Saturday, and I'll catch you on the next one. And enjoy the rest of the day. And I send you much healing. Send you lots of love. Bye.